Hello, 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 and welcome to Smart Impressions. I'm Rachel, and we are going to unlock these business relationships one connection at a time. So, everyone's doing events all day, every day. We got exhibitions up the wazoo, and you know what? There are too many times that these brands get lost without really connecting to the emotion of the people. And so if you have felt that your brand is like disconnected and you're like, wait a second, am I standing behind a logo or I'm standing behind a mission, a vision, and an emotion? These are the people that are talking today. So join me in welcoming, we have the co-founders of the Hanging House, the experimental agency here in Dubai. Thanks so much, Anam, Husam. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
having
Rachel.
us, Rachel. Yeah, that was a great intro. Thank you very much. Yes, so we are those moment makers. You can say the ones that bring the emotion behind the physicality of the events and exhibitions that hopefully all the viewers are very familiar with.
Wow, this town is blowing up with events, right? And so it's really like an amazing space to bring the world together at the World Trade Center or in Abu Dhabi. I mean, this is like the center of the universe today. And the show's entitled Beyond the Booth because it's about crafting these experiences that really convert with the brands. And so you both built the Hanging House, and it's about experimental marketing in a way. And so I want our listeners to hear a little bit more about what that actually means because they might say, "Oh, agency, build a stand." What is really experimental to that experience? Can you
Sorry, I
define
just
that?
Yeah, I want to jump in there and just just wanted to kind of clarify that it's also experiential. So and the word is kind of, I mean, the meaning is sort of in the word in itself. So we are an experiential agency, and what that means is that we create brand experiences, right? And I think these experiences could be in so many different forms, just like the ones you mentioned as well. So whether that's events, whether it's trade shows.
Or exhibitions or activations in general. It could also be even right now, if you would have noticed recently, Disney had launched that they're planning to bring up Disney in Abu Dhabi. So that's an experience by itself as well. So it all forms under the experience economy specifically. So it's all creating experiences, is what the Hanging House focuses on
Yeah.
specifically.
So if you have a brand, or if you're an entity that wants to communicate a specific message, and you have certain objectives, you have an audience in mind that you want to reach out to, that's where we come in and we translate how that could actually be delivered in the form of an experience. So right from concept through to execution, that's our jam.
Oh, awesome. Well, I love that because it brings in humans and humans have emotion. And so when you're figuring out this experiential kind of experience for brands, what really makes an experience memorable for customers? Is there one thing or two things or 20 things that you guys have to consider when helping brands figure this out?
I think I would suggest Anam, you want to go first?
Yeah, let me have a go at this. Look, what we've really noticed is at the end of the day, regardless of what age group we're talking to or what sort of demographic and all of
Or
these
what sort of
other,
industry as well? Like,
yeah, regardless of who it is that you're really speaking to, at the end of the day, what's common amongst all of us is that we're all human, and humans like emotion. We connect through emotion. That's absolutely innate to us. So when we're building one of these experience, any of our experiences, that's sort of our starting point, right? So yes, there's a brand that wants to communicate, but what is it that people really, what do you want them to feel, right? So if you're attending one of these experiences and you are, let's call it an event, but I really feel like how are you making someone feel turns an event into an experience. So that's really our starting point. When you want your audience to leave, how do you want them to feel as they leave? So when, or as they're within that space itself. So that's really what I would say matters most. We're always designing for emotion. making sure that it's human first. That's I
And
don't
there's
want.
always a story to address as well, because everybody remembers a story, right? So that's something which we focus on it as well, and there's a journey to it. Once that is completed, our next focus is, yes, there's a creativity, there is story, there's a strategy behind it. That experience also needs to be operationally run in such a way that it is memorable. For example, it's about how well have you done the execution as well.
Yeah, like I mean, there's no the I think all of these little department or functions that Hassam just briefly mentioned right now play a big part in making sure that the experience is delivered seamlessly, right? So right from what's the psychology behind the experience, to what the story is, to then how is that being translated? Are we using any tech to then
Tech with
enhance the
purpose, I
story?
have to make a small note on that, because a lot of agencies do tech, or we currently call it as, either people call technology or experience or experiential is glorified LED screens. No, that's not what we're talking about. Tech, it's about tech with a purpose, and that's what our focus is. And that also helps, why it helps the hanging house to do it, because we do have an in-house team which understands tech needs to be used for a purpose, not just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Cool.
While
So
you,
let,
sorry,
sorry,
go
go
on.
ahead. You first.
Um, I was just saying. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So we're good. We're good. If you
Okay,
want to
good.
keep,
All right, no worries. This happens. This happens. It's fun when you're live. Well, I want to invite everyone to jump in, ask some questions, because the first one that came to my mind is when you talk about tech for purpose, we're talking about lighting. We're talking about, give me the whole rundown of when you look at tech, what are you really including there?
yeah, sure. And I know that that's a very broad term to use, but the tech that when what that is at our disposal or in house, the capabilities that we have goes right from development. So whether that is
Robotic arms or haptic sensors or different kinds of sensors. So depending on the project to project, what we do is we identify what's the hardware, we identify what's the software that's required, and we create a story inside the tech itself, rather than just using the tech as a display piece. So
yeah.
it
So
is a display piece, plus there's a purpose behind it, there's a story, and how can that be used to enhance the journey, to make the consumer or customer, whoever is visiting, their experience much more memorable.
yeah, so I mean that ranges all the way from like engineering, so mechatronic engineering to sort of microsites, web based sort of apps that might enhance or take the experience to the next level. To then even simpler things that really is at, I would say, is where the hanging house sort of started off with, is like things like photo booths or like gamification with augmented reality. So all of these aspects really fall under our areas of expertise. But at the same time, we're not just, it's not a plug and play solution. Just like Hassan was mentioning, we're always looking at, yes, these are our base technologies, but how do we sort of spin a story around that? How do we use it with purpose? Is it really adding anything to the end experience, right? So you could be at an exhibition stand, or a trade show booth, and you might come across this beautiful LED wall with mirrors, and it's rotating on all sides and doing all of these things, which could be interesting, and it definitely stops people in their tracks. But how is that resonating with your audience? What is it really saying about your
Your
brand?
brand.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's a key question here. And so I think I want listeners for this show to really understand when it comes to branding. And I feel like it's such a trending word, but I see a lot of businesses, entrepreneurs that may not prioritize it, whether it be personal brands, whether it be their own business brand, and maybe get lost in the terminology, what that really means. But I love that you guys are highlighting this, emotion, because that's essentially what it's all here for. This is what it's all meant to achieve. So would you say that you have brands coming for similar, like there must be like the top emotions that brands want to evoke, right?
You would be surprised, and you'd be surprised because this is a lot of times. I would say that we love our clients. We understand that everyone has really stressful sort of roles as well in the work that they're doing. But I think what we've recognized is that sometimes the feeling bit, the emotion bit is actually forgotten, and we get really caught up in our in the KPIs and the structure and the and the marketing reach and all of these like more technical things, and people tend to forget about the emotion. So that's when we sort of come in, and it's really about us sort of guiding our the wonderful sort of clients that we work with to then say, okay, for this specific objective that you have, what emotion would you like to incite? And as an agency, don't shy away from negative emotions. If you're as long as you're making someone feel something, that's still okay. If that means you're getting someone to feel really scared, that's fine, right? I mean, obviously we would the sort of more sought after emotions are wonder. We're looking at joy, surprise. Like these are definitely emotions that come up quite often. Serenity is a really big one as well. Just
Cool.
with that the world's shifting, and just how the importance of wellness is becoming more prominent. That's definitely something that brands are shifting towards as well.
That's cool. That's cool. And then, emotions, I mean, listen, I'm going to date myself for a second. I'm already in my 40s. We didn't talk about emotions, but now for kids in school, they are identifying their emotions. I found this incredible app. It's called How We Feel. It's actually free, which is unbelievable. It's a nonprofit, but it has all these words that, I never even knew they were emotions that we're feeling on a regular basis. But I mean, I can imagine it's probably like so rewarding to kind of be able to monetize or really see what those emotions being evoked after you do a setup, and you see the experience that people are having within that setup that you've created out of the air, basically. So this creative energy that you guys are bringing to the world is phenomenal. I know we're running low on time, so I got to take you to the top 3 tips to leave our audience with. I hope you don't mind. But when we talk about like navigating this journey and connecting with audiences on this experimental and experiential, experience emotionally, what are some of the 3 practical tips or, priorities that people should be looking at and being aware of, in your opinion? Anam, you
Yeah,
want to start?
I'll go for sure. I'll go first. My number one to I would say is get tight with your why. Right? Why are you doing this in the first place? I think once you have the answer to why you want to do this, that would automatically then put yourself in this mindset where you're able to identify what emotions you want to resonate with. What's the takeaway that guests are that you want guests to leave with. So the why. Start with the why. Don't forget the why. Yeah.
Awesome. We got one. Why is one? You got any other ones?
Let's go. Yeah.
The
Husam's go
other
next.
one is
Oh,
use your
cool.
team as part of the experience is something that I would suggest because the way you show up matters a lot. And
Cool.
that's something which we focus on as well because it's an important one, which we believe like the team. I think collaboration and having team involved in every project, let it be even the smallest thing, is something that we value because we want it's a big part of our culture of the company as well, where we give importance for even team to choose the projects which they want to work with as well. That's something which we work on because we are like, okay, because at times if the team is not involved in the entire passion, then they won't give justice to it. So that's another one from my side. I think the last one,
Yeah.
and you can go
Yeah.
for it.
I think Hussam, yeah, I mean, that definitely works. And I mean, like, I'd say the last one is, again, really, really, and I know that this is what we've been chatting about for the last 15 minutes, but just as a quick reminder again, human first, emotion first, really lead with really lead with that, right? I'm gonna really quickly just quote one of my favorite quotes ever, which is, people will forget how you made how what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that's something that's really been true to us right from us starting 8 years ago in the little garage. That's something that's really been that guiding sort of mantra, I guess.
Wow. Okay, got it. The why, the team, the human element, and emotions. Anam, Husam, my biggest gratitude for joining me today. I really love what you're doing on the planet. I love how you're evoking these emotions for brands. I love how you're helping them connect with their customers through the human element. So keep up the amazing work. And I am so grateful that you were able to join me today. Thank you so much for being here in Smart Impressions. And I do encourage our audience, reach out. If you want to evoke some emotions, if you're interested in really connecting better with your consumers, and Hanging House is a place to go. Thank you, guys. This is a wrap. Until next time,
Have a
Thank
great
you.
one.
Great
Thanks
one.
chatting
Bye
to you.
bye.
Good.
have a great one. Bye-bye.